namaskar. Welcome to all of you to a new year full of learning. And आज जो हमारा प्रोग्राम है वो हर सालों की तरह कुछ नए अंदाज में शुरू हो रहा है. We are starting off with the GEG APAC series, but it is not as extensive as our earlier years. But फिर भी कोशिश यही रहेगी कि आपको हम कुछ आज नया सीखने के लिए लेके आए. और आज का दिन जो है उसमें आपको एक नहीं, दो नहीं, 5 सेशंस मिलेंगे. उसका स्केड्यूल आपके साथ हम शेयर करते रहेंगे. लेकिन सिर्फ जीजी दिल्ली एनसीआर का ही नहीं आज है. हमारे एपैक रीजन, एशिया पैसिफिक रीजन के बाकी जीजीज भी कुछ आपके लिए आज जरूर लेके आ रहे हैं. और उनके लिए आप तैयार रहिए. हम उनका भी लिंक आपके साथ शेयर करेंगे ताकि आप हमारे जितने स्पीकर्स हैं आज के उनसे कुछ नया सीख सके. तो शुरुआत करते हैं आज के सेशन से. आज का सेशन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है हमारे लिए क्योंकि आज हम सिर्फ जीजी दिल्ली एनसीआर के लीडर ही नहीं बात कर रहे. आज हम भारत के लीडर के बारे में बात नहीं कर रहे. हम अपने भारत के पड़ोसी देश से आपके लिए एक बहुत बढ़िया स्पीकर लेके आए. तो चलिए पहले मैं उन्हें स्टेज पे बुलाती हूँ और फिर हम उनकी इंट्रोडक्शन देते हैं, उनसे मिलते हैं और फिर उनसे सीखते हैं. तो लेट्स वेलकम Sagun here, Sagun Dhungana from Nepal, from Kathmandu, Nepal. So welcome Sagun. Sagun जी काठमांडू के लीडर हैं. सिर्फ लीडर ही नहीं, वो ट्रेनर, इनोवेटर हैं, गूगल सर्टिफाइड और बहुत सालों से गूगल एनवायरनमेंट में काम कर रहे हैं. और जहां तक ऑफिशियल टाइटल की बात करें तो उन्होंने सिर्फ काम एजुकेटर्स के साथ ना रख के उसको बिल्कुल प्रोफेशनल तरीके से लेके गए आगे. और अब उनको हम माना जाता है सीईओ डिजिटल एंड बियॉन्ड प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी के नाम से, जो एक गूगल फॉर एजुकेशन पार्टनर भी है. और उन्होंने पीछे ऑलमोस्ट 10 या 12 सालों में बहुत काम करा है गूगल फॉर एजुकेशन के लिए. और नेपाल जैसी जगह में जहाँ पे रिसोर्सेज की हमेशा कमी रहती है, कितने चैलेंजिंग एनवायरनमेंट रहते हैं, उन्होंने वहाँ पे हजारों एजुकेटर्स को ट्रेन करा है. और सिर्फ नेपाल नहीं, इंटरनेशनल कनेक्शंस भी और रिलेशनशिप्स में भी वो बहुत माहिर हैं. सो शगुन, welcome to GED Delhi NCR platform. It's really an honor to have you here. Also, अगर आप थोड़ा सा कुछ और हमें बता सके, what kind of activities are you engaged in? What are your passions? क्या आप नया सीखते हैं और सिखाते हैं लोगों को?
Thank you, Sangeeta ma'am, and thank you, Delhi NCR and all the viewers. Yes, my name is Sagun Dhungana. I'm working in edtech industry for last 15 साल, maybe 15 years. और माइक्रोसॉफ्ट से शुरू किया था करियर, फिर बाद में माइक्रोसॉफ्ट करके फिर गूगल तक का जो जर्नी रहा है, it has been a fantastic journey. मैं गवर्नमेंट से टाई अप करके कम्युनिटी स्कूल्स के लिए, उनके टीचर्स के लिए कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग का काम भी करता हूँ. और यूनिवर्सिटी से टाई अप करके हम लोग कोर्स भी बनाते हैं जो टीचर स्पेसिफिक और उनके प्रोफेशनल डेवलपमेंट के लिए भी रहता है.
वेरी गुड. सो दैट इज एक्साइटिंग. आपका बेसिकली जो पावर है वो, और जो आपकी जो एबिलिटी है वो आप शेयर कर रहे हैं बाकी एजुकेटर्स के साथ, जो कि बहुत ज़रूरी है क्योंकि क्लासरूम्स में तो टीचर ही जाता है. और अगर टीचर एम्पावर्ड हो जाएगा तो आगे स्टूडेंट्स को ही फायदा होने वाला है. सो डेफिनेटली कुडोज टू यू, क्योंकि आपने इतने सालों से इस फील्ड में काम किया और उसमें नई चीजें लेके आ रहे हैं. सो वेलकम एंड वी आर ईगर कि आज आप हमारे साथ नया क्या सिखाने वाले हैं. तो क्या मैं आपकी स्लाइड्स प्रेजेंट करूं?
यस, श्योर.
ग्रेट. चलिए आप इसको प्रेजेंटेशन मोड में डाल सकते हैं और यू कैरी ऑन, क्योंकि आज हम बहुत कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग सीखने वाले हैं. लर्न एलएम, जिसके बारे में हमने काफी सुना है लेकिन समझ शायद थोड़ी कम है हमें. तो मैं भी बहुत उत्सुक हूँ आपसे सीखने के लिए कि आप एआई जो हम बात करते हैं उसके बारे में वो एजुकेशन डेटा के साथ कैसे कनेक्ट कर रहे हैं और उससे हम क्या सीख सकते हैं। सो मैं आपके लिए ये प्लेटफॉर्म छोड़ रही हूँ, मैं बैकग्राउंड में रहूंगी और हमारे व्यूअर्स साथ साथ जुड़ रहे हैं तो वेलकम टू देम। अगर आप नहीं अभी जुड़ पा रहे और बाद में रिकॉर्डिंग देख रहे हैं तो उसके लिए भी आपका थैंक यू। बट अभी फिलहाल मैं देख सकती हूँ कि हमारे साथ निधि बजाज, विभापुरी, शिवानी और हाई स्कूल हिस्ट्री जिन्हें कहा जाता है वो हमारी संचिता मैम ही है जो कूल है हमारी, और ऑफ कोर्स विभा भी हमारी टीम के हैं। और साथ में हमारे साथ एक और जीजी लीडर जुड़ रही हैं, सुमेधा सोदी। सो लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड टू ऑल ऑफ यू हियर। Carry on. Stage is now yours, Sagun. I'm going to remove myself from here.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Best.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, namaste. Welcome everyone. So today we will be talking much more about Learn LM and the focus. आज का focus जो है वो I'll try to make sure कि वो टीचर की कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग, यानी टीचर ही एक ऐसा इंसान है जो स्टूडेंट को बना सकता है. Whatever teacher delivers in class, make sure uh, student learn that and they do awesome thing in coming future. तो ये जो टाइटल रहा है लर्न एलएम, ये बहुत ही नया चीज. दिस इज वेरी न्यू थिंग इन टीचिंग एंड लर्निंग. Okay, so learn LM basically came out after हमने तो जेमिना यूज किया है गूगल का. तो वो एक जेनरिक लार्ज लैंग्वेज मॉडल है. लेकिन लर्न एलएम हमें सिखाता है कि क्लासरूम का पेडागोजी जो है, जो टीचिंग लर्निंग प्रोसेस है, उसको समेट के कैसे एक स्कूल अपना लार्ज लैंग्वेज मॉडल और कहें कि चैटबॉट बना सकता है. तो हम उसी के पेरीफेरी में रह के बात करेंगे आज. एंड यस, आई एम नॉट अ नेटिव हिंदी स्पीकर, तो माफ कर दीजिए अगर आई मिस्ड अप, pardon on me. तो आज का ऑब्जेक्टिव रहेगा कि लार्ज लैंग्वेज मॉडल क्या है, इसे कैसे समझ सकते हैं. दूसरा, हम लोग एजुकेशन डाटा के बारे में कुछ समझने की कोशिश करेंगे. फिर तीसरा, गूगल एआई स्टूडियो एक एप्लीकेशन, वो मतलब कैसे उससे एआई का प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं. और चौथा होगा कि हम लोग क्लासरूम का मतलब चाहे टीचर चाहे स्कूल अपना एक एआई मॉडल कैसे जनरेट कर सकता है. तो आइए शुरू करते हैं. ये लार्ज लैंग्वेज मॉडल. सो व्हाट इज लार्ज लैंग्वेज मॉडल? ये लार्ज लैंग्वेज मॉडल एक ऐसा चीज है, एक एक आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस जो नेचुरल लैंग्वेज प्रोसेसिंग पे काम करता है. जैसे हम टेक्स्ट जनरेट करते हैं तो उसमें स्टोरीज, आर्टिकल्स, कोड, ये सब चीज हम जो जनरेट करते हैं उस चीज को इंसान इनपुट करता है और मशीन उसे प्रोसेसिंग करके हमें कुछ आउटपुट देता है, वो भी टेक्स्ट और इमेज के फॉर्मेट में. तो लार्ज लैंग्वेज मॉडल टेक्स्ट में काम करता है और it understands the text and tries to give us the prediction. So generating a text as well as large language model is a, a AI itself that works on natural language processing. Similarly, translating a language, as we have seen, or we have used it as well, translating from Hindi to Marathi or Telugu to Tamil. All of these languages, translation happens uh, almost accurately nowadays. I think 18 to 20 languages are accurately translated. So it uses the large language model of that particular language and tries to understand it and reflect upon it. Similarly, answering the questions. Okay? When we ask one line of question, the Gemini replies us with a wide range of perspective and a very comprehensive answer. So the large language model is something that is trying to understand a line and reflect upon the much more contextualized output. Similarly, it can summarize the text. तो अ, जैसे कि हम लोग कोई टेबल देते हैं कोई पैराग्राफ डालते हैं जेमिनाई पे तो it can actually summarize it and give us a output as we might have seen the Google Doc users maybe or the user who are trying to feed in long paragraphs of text and try to find out what is the output or the summarization. It does that. It has that power. The large language model that works on the natural language processing has that power. So similarly, there are few large language models by Google. So I think we should understand what are they. So Gemini, Google's largest and most advanced large language model that we use every day nowadays, and that is designed to do various tasks, reasoning, coding, or image understanding. And similarly, there is another large language model called BERT, that is a representation from transformer. It's an encoder. और वो BERT क्या कर रहा है कि मतलब that itself tries to understand the natural language. When you put in something, BERT tries to understand it and make sure the answers come in more precisely. Similarly, there is another language model, G5, text-to-text transfer, transformer. It is something that solves a problem with text-to-text. Let's say आप लोगों ने भी किया होगा कि when we are typing something in Gemini, the AI-based chat, we sometimes intend not to write full, the correct spellings or the format of the sentence. We just go haywire, type whatever we like. But all of these transformers, all the natural language processing makes sure whatever random or mistaken spellings that we put in, they are well organized and understood by the large language model so that it can give us a better output. So that's how the whole ecosystem or the mechanism of large language model that depends on natural language processing works. So basically, there is a storage of sentences, large language, and we try to, mm, we try to find our answer through these transformers or natural language processing using Gemini chat. So there are a ton of sentences that tries to come in as a paragraph, actually. So let's move on to learn LM. That is the topic for today. So large language model अपने अपने एक विशाल language model है और learn language model ये very new. This has been introduced very recently by Google. So what it does and what we can actually see in our Google practices is like it can simplify the answer or it can adjust the answer as per need by teachers and students. So Learn LM is being developed particularly for teaching and learning purposes. So आप लोगों को पता होगा कि मतलब जेमिनाई लार्ज लैंग्वेज मॉडल एक जेनरिक मॉडल है हम कुछ भी पूछ सकते हैं वो कुछ भी आंसर दे सकता है लेकिन लर्न एलएम एक ऐसा मॉडल इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया है विद इन जेमिनाई जिससे कि कोई भी हम क्वेश्चन करते हैं तो it tries to reply back as a classroom learning pattern. So now Google is introducing learn language model in Google search so that we can adjust our answers, even simplify the language. That this is fantastic because we know not all of us are so much proficient with English or any other languages or even our students. So they can adjust what they see on screen when they try to search in Google. So that is one of the very advantage of Learn LM. Now, आप लोगों ने ये देखा होगा मतलब this is a very very new feature that has come up and Android phone में when we try to circle a text, it tries to copy that text and explain that text. Now, Learn LM has introduced something called you know helping with mathematics or physics, where student can circle whatever they find within a phone screen, and it will give them a solution for that mathematical equation or physics equation. So Learn LM is being introduced as a part of Android system. So we Android phone use करते हैं, we can try it out. You know? And yes, it is trying to solve more complex question in coming days. Even symbolic formula, let's say कोई भी equation, algebraic equation, integration, derivatives, all of those symbols. Now, student can actually circle it within their phone, their mobile devices, or even us, we can circle it and get the answer done. So that is one of the features from Google as Learn LM. Now, another feature that is coming in as a part of Learn LM is, let's say, when we ask question in Gemini, we tend to get lost in whatever answer that comes in. We try to find next answer, and ऐसा. So we actually forget why we were actually sitting in front of that screen. Now, Gemini is bringing something called Gems. Uh, so Gems works as our point or a sector within Gemini that stores the knowledge and tries to answer according to that knowledge base. Okay. Let's say that we want Gemini to act as a learning coach when we are trying to do our professional development online courses, or we are trying to, uh, we are asking our students to solve any questions. So they can use Gemini or the Gens as their personalized, learning coach. So this is the feature that has been brought in by something called Learn Language Model within Gemini by Google. Okay, now Dada. Okay, let's get out of Learn LM, and I would like to show something that why Learn LM. Okay, Gemini. So हमारे पास तो Gemini है. We have been using Gemini for a long time. Everything it says it's easy to use. But is it actually tangible with teaching and learning specific needs? So just filling that gap, Learn LM is a task-specific model that has been trained to align with learning science principles. So कोई भी student or कोई भी teacher when we are doing PD or trying to learn something, trying to gain knowledge, there are some philosophies or principles that we need to follow. So Learn LM Gemini के बीच में एक ट्रांसफार्मर के रूप में काम करता है जो हमें लर्निंग साइंस प्रिंसिपल में रह के आउटपुट दे सकता है. So it is like when we give them instructions, the language model, we will do a demonstration of that, please. So when we give instruction to this language model, it gives us exact output as per our instruction. So that is the beauty of Learn Language Model. That's it. So all of the 5 pillars that Learn LM works are inspiring active learning. जैसे कि जब हम instruction देते हैं, like in regular classroom, if we can give instruction to bigger chat or Gemini model, it will give exactly the same type of answers that we want our student to see. So it will inspire active learning because student will think they are, they are asking or they are sitting in their own classroom setup, managing cognitive load, well-structured information, make sure they don't get, bundles of paragraph of answers, then adapting to learner. We can actually set an instruction as per the need of learner and stimulating curiosity. Yes, uh, let's say it's actually yeah, providing motivation to go to the next step. Just like solving a math equation, where students need motivation to make sure they understand what they did last time and go to the next step. Similarly, deepening metacognition. So planning, monitoring, and helping a student. So what is all of these things that is coming is simply put एक Gemini है chat जहाँ पे हम लोग जाके we can instruct Gemini to give answers हमारे जैसे जैसे when our student asks us question we try to construct an answer then we give them feedback or answer. So similarly we can use Gemini using LearnLM using Gemini we can instruct a chat to reply to our student as per what we want them to learn. Okay, okay, let's move back to the slide. इतना ही नहीं मतलब लर्न एलएम बियॉन्ड लर्न एलएम इसका यूज करके what Google has introduced something called Illuminate. What it does, like it breaks down news research papers and okay, okay, yeah, there was a voice playing, so no problem. So Illuminate is something that breaks down research paper and not only it breaks down the major points within those paper or the content, but it also create a conversational like podcast like conversational AI generated voices so that students can understand each segment properly. So Illuminate is one of a very good example of what can be done using LearnLM within Gemini setup. There has been recently, Google has published a paper called Toward Responsible Development of Generative AI for Education and Evaluation Driven Approach, free to download. And why they did this is they are trying to match up जो भी दूसरे chatbots हैं, so open source के, so are they giving the right answer and in context with teaching learning? और उसका रिजल्ट ये निकला कि मतलब when Google introduced learn language model using Gemini that they found out education, the teaching and learning results came in fantastic and way better than other computer tools. So learn LM का जो tutor development है वो कैसे construct किया? So I just want to go through a very brief graph on this. So they took in human evaluation, the teacher's evaluation, then they also measure the automatic evaluation, then they improve their model, improve their large language model, then they deploy it. And this is a cycle that goes on and on. So you can read in paper, there are a few thousand students and few hundreds of teachers who gave their feedbacks on a particular set of answers that has been given by Gemini. तो क्या होता है कि मतलब student when they sit down in Gemini and ask questions, they can get varied type of answers. But when they go to classroom, they might confuse themselves on determining कि टीचर का कहा हुआ समझ में आ रहा है और टीचर का कहा हुआ करेक्ट है या जो जेमिनी में और अ, दूसरे चैटबॉट में जो दिखाया जा रहा है वो करेक्ट है और उसे समझे कैसे. So it's like a classroom approach when teacher tries to use their method of expressing themselves and teaching student वो expression वो methodology if teacher can put in somewhere कहीं जाके वो रखता है teacher that will make sure student learn exactly in a way the teacher is trying to teach within classroom. This will make sure the student don't get, diverted or they don't go haywire in knowledge base loss. So that is the main focus in this Learn LM model by Google. So now let's move on to something called education data, right? So when we call education data, we need to first identify what are data and what are data within school setup. So I would like to ask or give maybe 10 seconds for you to write down in chat when you hear something called data within school, how can you relate it and what do you think it might be? Example, data, the facts and findings within classroom, school setup that we gather are called educational data. So in that context, I would just like to know what you think are the educational context data that you use. Maybe mm, grading data, maybe review data. Yeah, Samantha.
Yeah, hi Sagun. We're waiting for people to respond, so I thought I'll just pop in. आपका अगर ये ईयरफोन्स निकाल के हम करें क्योंकि some people are not able to hear you clearly. Can you check the audio there? I didn't want to disturb you बीच में, लेकिन थोड़ा clarity आ जाएगा. Let's try.
Okay, is this better?
Oh, much better. Thank you so much.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No worries. My bad. Sorry. Yeah. That's,
Yeah,
no
sorry.
worries. Okay.
थैंक यू. अच्छा, अब लोगों के लिए हम सवाल दोबारा पूछते हैं. सो सगुन, इफ यू कैन रिपीट योर क्वेश्चन, पीपल विल
Yeah, sure.
होपफुली आंसर.
Sure.
थैंक यू.
The education data, or let's say whichever data that we use within classroom or a school setup, that's the context of education data. So can you tell me what you understand as a education data within classroom or within school? What do you think is a data that is related to education? Anything that pops in your mind is fine. Yes, student performance. So let's chunk down. Thank you, ma'am. Now let's chunk down what is called education data that we can use every day from within schools. Let's say school records, attendance, disciplinary report, digital analytics, LMS, learning management system, Google Classroom का जो भी data आता है, education apps, surveys or interviews, observations, taste and assessment, focus group, feedback mechanism, online forms, ये जितने भी टच पॉइंट हैं जो डेटा एक्सट्रैक्ट करते हैं और कॉन्टेक्स्ट टू एजुकेशन, ये सब डेटा को हम एजुकेशन डेटा मानते हैं. ठीक है. Imagine for last 10 years when if in a school in last 10 years when a student enters in grade 1 and does their 10th grade exam or does their CBSE, so they have a 12 years journey. grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, with different teachers. They do different learnings, and different teachers try to teach different students, and there are massive data that is available within a school setup. अभी हमने क्या जाना कि मतलब लार्ज लैंग्वेज मॉडल में ज़्यादा डेटा रहते हैं, और अगर हम उसको ऐसा बनाना चाहते हैं कि हम जैसा, let's say a teacher wants to create their own replica who can guide their student as per the teacher instruction, तब जाके हम क्या कर सकते हैं, ये स्कूल का जो भी एजुकेशन डेटा है उसे एक जगह रख के, अगर टीचर अपना मतलब दे कैन क्रिएट देयर ओन डेटा स्ट्रक्चर, और हम लोग इसे कंबाइन करेंगे तो इससे ज्यादा महत्वपूर्ण लर्निंग एप्लीकेशंस बन सकता है। ठीक है, सो एजुकेशन डेटा इन कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ गूगल क्या हो सकता है? मानिए जो भी डेटा आता है, गूगल फॉर्म, गूगल क्लासरूम, गूगल ड्राइव, और कहिए गूगल एनालिटिक्स जो वेबसाइट से आता है, और इवन क्रोम ओएस जो हमारे क्रोम बुक और क्रोम फ्लेक्स जो भी डिवाइसेस स्टूडेंट यूज करते हैं। देखिए इतना ज्यादा डाटा एक साथ एक ही जगह पे जमा हो रहा है, लेकिन वी आर नॉट ट्राइंग टू एक्सप्लॉइट दैट डेटा फॉर आवर ओन गुड और फॉर आवर ओन नीड. So in today's session, we're trying to make sure learning happens with meaningful data from within a school setup. तो ये तो रहा मतलब school, how they interact with data, how Google for Education, Google ecosystem interacts with data, and they accumulate lot of data, right? Okay, now let's move on. ये तो रहा कि स्कूल का डेटा है, स्कूल में डेटा रहता है. There is something called Learn LM, Learn Language Model, जो कि हम जेमिनी के अंदर प्रयोग कर सकते हैं, so that we can model our own chatbot. लेकिन कैसे कर सकते हैं, मतलब how will you do that? तो हम आज we will try to understand an application called Google AI Studio that helps us build our own AI chat. ठीक है, so आज के इस demonstration के लिए I have choose a title called River of India from CBSE curriculum, grade 6 to be specific, but yeah, सामाजिक grade 6 का उसमें से River of India, yeah, I just choose that pattern. So उसमें से हम देखेंगे कि मतलब एक टीचर इंस्ट्रक्शन देके गूगल जेमिनी को कैसे अपना चैटबॉट डेवलप कर सकता है, और लर्न एलएम का फिलोसॉफी यूज करके. चलिए डेमो पे चलते हैं. सो ये है गूगल एआई स्टूडियो. द थिंग दैट यू आर सीइंग इन योर स्क्रीन इज कॉल्ड गूगल एआई स्टूडियो. Google AI Studio is free to use, free to practice, I would say. आपको जब भी लगे कि मतलब what is AI, how AI works, how language model works, मतलब एक मैजिक कैसे होता है कि we input some text and suddenly we get a lot of text out from it, and we can go to Google AI Studio using our school email, Gmail, and we can try it out different experimental things. Okay, so Google AI Studio is very, very friendly for teachers because, like we said, we have something called instructions that we need to give to our chat, and we can expect answers as per our instruction is set. Similarly, we can create a prompt. Then there are a lot of applications that we can check with our student or ask them to do, the classroom activity, which are very interesting. AI applications are available free of cost, and we can tune a model. Okay, and there are a lot of prompt galleries that will teach us how to prompt properly. API documentation, if you think, okay, ये तो हो गया, मतलब piece of cake, too much of things, I want to move on to next level. Now we can go to API and Vertex AI, something called a bit advanced version of Google AI Studio, and start working on our own chatbots. Okay. So in this Google AI Studio setup, what we're trying to do is we're trying to set an instruction. We are trying to learn how instruction-based chat works. So we are trying to put in instruction here, and we will ask question and see whether the answer given by Gemini follows our instruction or not. So actually a teacher is instructing Gemini to give the answers as they need. Let's say हमने instruction दिया कि don't give the answers in first attempt, but try to understand the level of ये एक इंस्ट्रक्शन आई एम ट्राइंग टू क्रिएट एन इंस्ट्रक्शन जिसमें मैं कंस्ट्रक्ट कर रहा हूँ कि स्टूडेंट को आंसर मत देना, ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड द लेवल ऑफ स्टूडेंट विद इन हिज और हर कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ नॉलेज. सो मैं ये एक इंस्ट्रक्शन सेट कर रहा हूँ. वी कैन सेट आवर ओन इंस्ट्रक्शन जस्ट फॉर दिस डेमो. So ये instruction में मैं बता रहा हूँ कि don't give them the answers, but try to understand what they know earlier so that we can move on with the better learning. Okay. Okay. Now let's move on to the chat. And if I type anything in this chat box, okay, there's this chat box. If I type anything in this chat box, it should comply with the instructions. So let's see. A student comes in and asks, what is 345 into 400? Sorry, what is, let's say, the square root of, they are trying to find the square root of 64. Now, when I run that chat, it won't give the answer as we can see here, right? It won't give the direct answer because we have set an instruction, don't give them direct answer. But we are trying to manage or arrange their understanding as per how we teach in our classroom. So it says, okay, let's think about square root. Do we remember what a square root means? And it's like asking what number when multiplied by itself equals 64. That is a hint provided. Okay, so this is how a learned language model acts, or it tries to, it tries to give answer as per the instruction by the teacher. So we can try it out with different AI models, large language model. The best one that I use is Gemini 1.5 Pro. That's a bit stable. Now let's say, I said any teacher can construct their own prompt and create their own chatbot. So let's say I have created so I'm trying to create my own chatbot, or trying to understand how this works. And I know when I give instruction, magic happens within LearnAlly. So what I try to do is, like, first I'll try to create my own prompt. So how can a teacher create their own prompt? Is like, when you are asked by your student, आपका student जब भी आप लोगों को question करते हैं, those questions can be the input prompts. और आप लोग वो क्वेश्चन को कैसे अप्रोच करते हो स्टूडेंट्स तक, that can be your output prompt. So let's say there are input prompts and output prompts. I have created I have created some of the examples already from within the system. So I will just browse rivers in India and I'll try to use that prompt. Yeah, we can use an Excel sheet to input prompt and construct output prompt manually. We need at least 500 prompts for a better result. But yeah, okay, let's import the prompt, clean it up a bit. Oops, my bad. So, okay. So when I created this prompt, I'm trying to assume that I'm teaching a social studies class and the topic is rivers of India in my classroom. So I'm just trying to connect my understanding of my student because I get asked a lot of questions about major rivers. I get asked about longest rivers. I get asked about state of Kerala. So this is something I created myself. If they ask major rivers, I'll say the major rivers of India include the Ganga, Hindu, Brahmaputra, Godavari, Krishna, and Kaveri. So now let's say I will set an instruction, the tone or style of instruction. If I get this type of question from my student, how this particular chat should respond. So I'll put in instruction. I've saved a few of the instructions here. I'll try to copy paste that to the okay. Let me bring my screen here. Okay, anyways, it's not popping up. There's something wrong with my screen setup. No, that's okay. So now let's set an instruction. Try to understand the question by student such that they must know 20% of the answers they are expecting. Give them choices and hints. Okay, so I just set an instruction, 20% answer we expect from student, and give them choices and hints on where they can find more answers or they can look for more answers. तो मैंने एक मॉडल बनाया, एक प्रॉम्प्ट बनाया अपना जैसा क्लासरूम में होता है. My student asking question, I'm giving them answers. So let's test the input. If my student asks any question like, what is the longest river of India? Then according to my prompt design, I must get a better answer. Look. Oh, sorry, that's okay. I need to zoom out and okay. So this is the answer that the system or LearnLM is showing to the student. So when a student asks a direct question, LearnLM makes sure it follows the instruction of a teacher and tries to understand student knowledge and give them the best options. Okay, so this is how we construct our prompts, and this is how we practice our prompt, and we can do a lot of things using Google AI Studio. Okay, now I think we are running out of time. Just heads up if I'm running out of time, ma'am. Just 2 more minutes and I'll be done. Yes. So now we saw that even a teacher, any subject teacher, can create their own chat system using LearnLM and Google Gemini. But we must be sure, the teachers must be sure that right prompting techniques for input and output is essential. Clear content and context on subject matter is really, really important when we create such prompt. Data privacy, yes, it has to be taken care of very seriously. And the data protection policy, the policy that school follows to show what data or not to show what data has to be defined as per also in regards to creating prompts when students are using it. Okay. So this is a scalable architecture. This is a framework. Imagine uh, when we saw first, there's something called Gemini, there's something called school data, and there's something called Google Workspace for Education. So if a school is using Google Workspace for Education, we have tons of data, and we have a free Gemini model that we just saw in Google AI Studio. What if we merge them and make sure teachers are creating instruction based prompt, and we put everything in a basket? We can create our own chatbot for our school that is relevant to our school teaching and learning, that is relevant to our school data, and that is relevant in context of teacher and student. So I think AI democratize education, and it breaks down the barrier and personalized learning by analyzing teacher-tailored data. So I believe teacher-tailored data and instruction is very essential for student learning. So AI empowers the educator to identify individual student need, provide targeted support, and optimize instruction for diverse learning style. As a student might have diverse learning styles. So I believe democratizing education has to be connected with strongly with teachers in center, how they create or how they manage the ecosystem of learning, and the magic should happen. Thank you. Thank you so very much. And I think we can move on to Q&A. Sangeeta ma'am, is that all right?
Yes, absolutely. I think this was a very, one would say, great, enriching session, but it is also little new for many of us. So definitely, a lot of questions would come in our mind, and it will help if we revisit the recording and actually follow it step by step. Because this was my first encounter as well with Google AI Studio, and I was very happy to see that you chose to start with telling the system not to answer the student directly, because the fear that we have as educators is that with AI, students will just get the answer, and they will not think, they will not learn. So what you have just shown is a great example where the AI is just making the students think, nudging them in the right direction. And now, if the teacher has the ability to create such chatbots for themselves, I think the teacher is doing a great job of using the technology in the right sense in empowering the students to learn better. Just like we in classroom, when a student asks me a question directly, I would not answer it because I have just taught them, and I've taught them the formula or method or the concept, but I would just wait for them to reach the answer there. So I loved that part of it. And we definitely will need to spend a little more time. But yes, waiting for people in the chat, and we've got around 30 plus people who've been coming in and out. And we have here, of course, our India's app guru, as we call them, Imran Khan, National ICT awardee, doing amazing work in Alwar, and he's excited at what you have shown right now. So definitely that's something to look forward to. And we have again Vibha talking about definitely going to rewatch and follow step by step, because that's the most important part. But still, if you have any question, we would love to hear from you. इफ यू वुड वांट एनी क्वेश्चन, सो अगर आपके दिमाग में कुछ भी एक सवाल आ रहा है तो प्लीज जरूर पूछ लीजिए अभी, और अगर नहीं तो बाद में हमारे इस YouTube चैनल में आप सवाल डाल सकते हैं, और हम कोशिश करेंगे कि सगुन उनको बार बार जवाब दें. So, Sagun, here's a question from Imran. If you can take a look at it, if you think you can help us with saying, my question is, the education data which we are uploading on AI Studio, is it safe? Or what we have to take care of the data safety? So again, that privacy is always important. So, आपके एक्सपीरियंस में क्या रहेगा इसका जवाब?
Oh, thank you, Imran sir. Thank you for the question. Rightly said, sir. Yes, safety does matters. Our AI Studio is a standalone application where we can practice prompt. तो जब प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं तो AI मॉडलिंग का काम कुछ भी नहीं कर रहा होता है बैकग्राउंड पे. So we are just trying to practice the prompt, not putting personal data, obviously. But when we try to connect that with large language model like Gemini using APIs, उस वक्त we have to make sure कि data is very, very private and we're not putting anything up. और जो एजुकेशन सेटअप है गूगल फॉर एजुकेशन, गूगल वर्कस्पेस फॉर एजुकेशन का, उस सेटअप में इट हैज बीन वेरी वेरी स्ट्रिक्टली मेंटेन्ड दैट गूगल जेमिनी का जो भी एक्टिविटी कर रहे होते हैं गूगल एआई स्टूडियो का, वो स्कूल के डेटा के अंतर्गत, मतलब इनसाइड स्कूल ही रहता है. सो इन अ वे गूगल इज मेकिंग श्योर हमारा डाटा बाहर नहीं जा रहा है स्कूल से. और दूसरी बात, वी हैव टू टेक केयर ऑफ पर्सनल डेटा एंड व्हाट प्राइवेसी पॉलिसी दैट वी नीड टू इम्प्लीमेंट व्हाइल क्रिएटिंग अ प्रॉम्प्ट ऑलवेज रिमेन्स देयर, सर. या थैंक यू. Yes, Sangeeta ma'am, you're mute.
या सॉरी. सो हमारी ऑडियंस यही बिल्कुल कह रही है कि काफी कुछ सीखने को मिला, और शायद हमें ऐसे सेशंस और करने चाहिए. सो थैंक यू फॉर दैट फीडबैक. हम कोशिश करेंगे कि हम सगुन और ऐसे ही एक्सपर्ट्स को और बुलाएं, थोड़ा टेक्निकल साइड में भी इस सेशन को लेके जाएं, और कुछ आपको और हमें दोनों को कुछ नया सीखने को मिले. So thank you. Definitely, knowledge was full session, as सुखविंदर कह रहे हैं, knowledgeful session. So definitely ये हमारे लिए काफी मदद करेगा. और हाँ, हमने अपनी चैट में आज के इस सेशन के पार्टिसिपेशन सर्टिफिकेट का लिंक डाला है. आप जरूर उसको लेके अपने लिए आज का ये जो पहला सेशन है इस दिन का, उसका सर्टिफिकेट लीजिए. लेकिन बाकी सेशंस मिस नहीं करिएगा. एकदम अभी 12 बजे ही हम एक और बहुत ही बढ़िया सेशन लेके आ रहे हैं. और सगुन जानते हैं कि नोटबुक LM जो है वो लर्न LM के साथ, या जैसे आपने इल्यूमिनेट की जहां बात करी, सो वो उसी का पार्ट है. और नोटबुक LM ने काफी एक्साइट किया हुआ है लोगों को, क्योंकि एक तो थोड़ा उसके फीचर्स काफी इंटरेस्टिंग है, सेकेंडली उसमें कुछ नया करने को मिलता है. तो हम उसी के बारे में बात करेंगे. पूरे 12 बजे हमारा सेशन है. सो उसका भी हम लिंक आपको शेयर कर रहे हैं इसी चैट में, ताकि आप हमारे साथ जुड़े रहें. और उस सेशन के लिए YouTube पे आप उसको ऑन करके रख सकते हैं, और कुछ 5 मिनट में हम आपको मिलेंगे. तो मैंने वो YouTube का भी लिंक यहाँ डाल दिया है. लेकिन इसके साथ साथ मैं अपने सारे जो हमारे साथी जुड़े हैं उनको याद दिलाना चाहती हूँ कि ये सिर्फ दिल्ली NCR का ही नहीं आज सेशन है. हमारे GEG APAC के कुछ और GEGs भी उनके अपनी लोकल लैंग्वेज में और इंग्लिश में भी ये सेशंस कर रहे हैं. तो उस गूगल साइट का भी लिंक मैंने इसी चैट में शेयर किया है आप सबके साथ. सो प्लीज उन सेशंस को भी अटेंड करिए. अगर आपके टाइमिंग नहीं बैठते तो उसकी रिकॉर्डिंग भी उनके लोकल YouTube चैनल पे मिलेगी. सो प्लीज जाइए, आज का दिन और आगे का कुछ टाइम जो है सीखने में लगाइए, और हम भी आपसे मिलते रहेंगे आज के दिन में और आगे भी. तो आई थिंक शगुन आपने बहुत अच्छी शुरुआत करी है आज हमारे इस सेशन की, और नए साल की इससे बढ़िया शुरुआत क्या हो सकती है कि हम सब मिलके कुछ नया सीखे। सो थैंक यू, आप ने टाइम निकाला हमारे इस चैनल पे आने का, और कोशिश करेंगे हम थोड़ा सा डीप डाइव करें इस गूगल एआई स्टूडियो में आपके साथ, तो फिर से इनवाइट करने की जरूर कोशिश करेंगे आपको।
Thank you so very much, Sangeeta ma'am, and thank you all the audience. I hope I try to make sense of my presentation, and looking forward to collaborate on any kind of learning that I could share. Thank you.
थैंक यू। सो नमस्कार, हम अगले सेशन में 12 बजे आपको बिल्कुल फिर से मिलते हैं, तैयार रहिए। सी यू सून।